There's something I've been wanting to get off my chest about this entertainment industry here in Korea, and especially as it relates to being a foreigner trying to make it. So it's time for another Alex Uncut. So I haven't done an Uncut in a while, but when I want to talk about something where I want to be real with everyone, I try to show you that this is how I'm really speaking. Yes, maybe today I've decided to put on some nice background music, but in general, I'd rather have no cuts when I'm talking from the heart, and I got a lot I want to say. So today, we're going to talk about the entertainment industry here in Korea. See, made a mistake. It's all good. And I want to just talk about why there's some issues with it and things you need to know if you're going to come into the industry or if you're already in it. Although you probably already can relate to the things that I'm about to talk about. But these are the things that you need to be aware of before you jump right in. The first thing I want to talk about is, the contracts. Contracts are a very tricky thing here in Korea. Whether you're a Korean or a foreigner, no matter what, you're working with some people who want to take money from you. That's the nature of having agents in the industry, or management companies, as more likely you're going to have here in Korea. In fact, when you're looking at agents and management, there's two ways you can divide it up in the beginning as a foreigner. The first thing that you'll probably be exposed to is one of these modeling agencies that will pay you only every time you do a job, they'll take a certain percentage of it. And then the other one would be like a management company that will give you your visa, but then you've got to do most of your work through them. And that's not great either. I don't know. Either or either. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about the first one, though, because I got a couple of these jobs right away, and I thought this was dope. This was so good. You're going to come in here and make like $300 at a Samsung job or a whatever job it is. I think I did one for like a black box company. I was like the infomercial guy. It was great. It was cool. But you learn a few things. And one of the things I learned is that in this industry, especially if you don't have a visa, which I did at the time, but if you don't have a visa, they're not afraid to take 80% of that paycheck from you. And that's a high percentage, considering it should be like 10 to maybe 30%, but they will take 80%. And I had a couple friends that would do this kind of job, but not get paid fully for it because they didn't have the right visa. So what are you going to do? Go complain to the Korean government that while I've been working illegally, they took some money from me? No, you're going to get in trouble, and that ends up being a problem for you. And they get a small fine, and you get, boom, kicked out of the country, probably because you were working on the wrong visa or you were working when you weren't supposed to be. So they take a ton of money out of that if you're not working for a management company. But then you say, Alex, you know what? I'll just sign with them. Then I'll be fine, right? Because you'll get the visa. That comes with a whole new set of problems, actually. And those problems can range from visa issues, which I'll talk about in a second, to just being stuck. And we've heard about slave contracts in K-pop, but there was one company recently that I know of who they take care of foreign models and foreign entertainers, and they will take 50 to 60% of what you make. And that's a really high percentage, especially when you work in radio and you don't make a lot per time that you're on radio. You have to write the script, travel, be on air, and you get half of that after you're done. It's not a lot. So with this company in particular, which I can't name names, but this particular company, they get people who don't have the F visa, which is the visa that is best for working in entertainment because you don't need to be bound to a contract. So they know that you need them. You need their contract and their visa. So they will say, hey, you know what? If you really want to work in the entertainment industry, one, look at all the people that we worked with. We put them on TV, got them famous. And two, you need a visa. So sign with us. And that's it. That's all you can do. And they take 50 to 60%. Now, I know that in some cases in Korea, they do 50%. They take 50% of maybe some beginning actors and stuff and beginning K-pop stars. But you generally get like a whole team of people driving you places and doing makeup for you. But as a foreigner here, you just do all the work and they take 50 to 60%. And that is a terrible deal. But if you're going to get kicked out of the country because you don't have a visa, that's just the way it is. And it sucks. And a 5-year contract, it's actually insane. I never got offered that. Either one, they think I suck, which is possible, or two, I had enough visa. So I had some negotiating power and I didn't need to sign with them. And by the way, if you ever see that contract and you have an F visa, never sign with that, like ever. I don't care what they said, because the next thing about it that makes it hard to be a foreigner entertainer here in Korea is that they're manipulative as hell. And I remember hearing about this company, and my friends would be interviewed by them, and they would just repeat like, oh, we put people on that Bijong Sang show, which is Abnormal Summit, and got them famous. But what happened in this particular case is, the first people that were on the show, maybe they were signed by them before or after, I don't know. But then the second season, that guy took a whole lot more money out of the second season's panelists. Like, they took out a higher percentage, they made way less money on that show, and it's called taking advantage of people by promising them fame. And some of the people that signed also aren't getting as much work. Dirty little secret in this industry is that when the majority of people aren't making enough to get by. You're not making enough, so you end up doing English tutoring on the side, or you have a secondary job, whatever it is. I'd say like a lot of foreigners in the entertainment industry make about $1,000 a month. And maybe you'll have a good month every once in a while, get that Samsung commercial job, but $1,000's pretty regular too. So you're not making enough money to make ends meet. And it's even worse if you come from a country where you don't speak English as your first language. So consider that as well. Another problem, and this is a big one, because as you remember me saying earlier, I can't mention names. You can't defame anybody, and you can't try to take someone down for being unfair, because they can use that against you. In Korea, there's an anti-defamation law, which means that if you say something negative about someone, even if it's true, if it hurts their reputation, guess who gets sued? You do. What up, what up? That's fun, right? It's not. It's not fun. You shouldn't do that. You'll get sued, and maybe you'll get deported, especially if it's your own boss and that's your contract, and he cuts your contract up, and it's like, oh, no visa now. You're going home. So that's another problem with being a foreigner, or even, regular Korean entertainer here in Korea. So, boom. Like I said, it's Uncut. I want to make sure I get to the right one next. Next on the list, oh yeah, of course, related, if you lose your job, you can lose your visa. And I'm not talking just about an entertainment company. If you got your visa by being a radio host, for example, and your show gets canceled, you need to find a new person to sponsor your visa. And that can get tricky because, one, how are you going to switch to the next season? An example of this in radio is you usually get told that you're fired within 2 weeks of you ending the show of that season. So you can't just say, okay, I'm going to go to another radio station, because they've already found someone for the next season and you're stuck. So you either have to do a visa run and get a tourist visa and then come back and look for a job and do another visa run to get the new visa, or you're screwed. And that kind of stinks. So having a visa tied to it. The way around it, of course, is the F visa, which I have, thankfully. Just, it's a beautiful thing. Get it as soon as you can. Even if you have to do a job you hate for a year just to get it, I swear. Another video, though. 2 more things I want to talk about, and they're kind of related. One is that most of the jobs you get on TV are role character jobs, like particular roles that only you can fill. And it's worse if you're not white, because just to be blunt, a white person in Korea can play a job of English teacher, professor, friend, or someone who works at a, fashion store. They come in and they're really like, oh, hi, and then there's a joke about how they don't understand English or Korean or whatever, and it's a trope. Sorry, cliche. Off topic here. Otherwise, if you're black, a lot of the times you can only play U.S. soldier, which a white person can play too, I suppose, or a basketball player. And I'm not kidding. When there's roles for a basketball player in commercial, they want black people, and that's it. So yeah, you're typecasted a lot, and that's a problem. Another reason that's a problem is that you now look at the other people who look like you and think, this is my competition. And on one hand, it's absolutely true. Anyone who looks like me and has my hair cut and my skin color and is my height and size is my direct competition. And it becomes competitive and not fun, because a lot of people in this industry get jealous. Now, here's a fun little secret about that. One of the reasons people get jealous is because we're not that talented. We're not that talented here. And I'm just saying, I know there are some talented people here, don't get me wrong, but if we were talented, we'd probably be in Hollywood. Okay, we are talented, but you know what I mean, not that level of talent. And there's jealousy is a huge issue in this industry. And I'll admit it too, when I see someone do well, and I'm like, that's a worse YouTube video than mine, but they're doing better, I get a little jealous. Now imagine how cutthroat it gets when you're only making $1,000 a month and you're fighting for the same job as another person who looks like this, and you're like, this guy's an asshole. I'm better than him. That's, it's just clearly things are coming out. Now that was just a fun little rant, a little vent, a little Alex Uncut about what is wrong with the industry in Korea. If you're a foreigner, it's not necessarily Korea's fault, although there are some people who are Korean who will take advantage of you. Overall, it's just kind of the way it is, and I've gotten used to it, and I'm okay with it. But you may not like it, or you may struggle to get through it. Let me know if you've had any problems in the Korean entertainment industry, down below. Oh, it's uncut. I can't even go back and do it again. Or if you have an opinion about it, or you like someone who's doing really well, because I know a few of those people who are doing well in dramas, and it's not easy for them, even though they're the most successful ones. So many stories out there. Maybe one day I'll interview one of them, but until then, that was my story about why it's difficult for foreigners to work in the entertainment industry in Korea. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Make my job a little bit easier here on YouTube, and tell your friends about it, all that other stuff. This was Alex Uncut, as real as it gets. Don't forget to always be good, do good, and feel good. And of course, repeat. See you next time. Goodbye. Hase yo.